Hey everyone, welcome to Biconomy Talks. Today I'm talking with SHIH TZU project, and I'm excited to explore the world of meme coins with a group of community leaders from SHIH TZU. The meme coin inspired by the legendary guardian dog, SHIH began as a community-driven token on Binance Smart Chain BSC with no roadmap, no white paper, and no DApps. The project's founders have since departed, and volunteers from the community have stepped up to keep the flame alive. With 1 billion tokens in supply, burned liquidity, and zero tax, the ethos centers on loyalty, patience, and power. We'll talk about how this community revived the project after its creators left and what lessons they've learned along the way. Hi, OJ. Hi, Adam. Welcome. How are you today?
Well, how are you?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Good to have you here. Let's start from the beginning. OJ, let's start with you. How did you find out about SHIH TZU? What brought you to the project?
I was watching a couple of YouTube videos and somebody that I follow mentioned it. I did a little research on it and I said, man, it's pretty good. Contract renounced, community seemed amazing. So I decided to get in.
Wonderful, wonderful. How about you, Adam?
The community reached out, one asked me to be a part of it. And I was like, sure. And then when I did some research and I was just like, I saw the story and I'm like, you got Binance and you got Ethereum. And I'm like, this could actually be the dog runner on Binance. So I was just like, this got some potential. It just needs some time to really make things happen. So I kind of saw a little bit of the vision. And then this is kind of how you really actually get into early projects. I was in early in Shiba and I was just like, hey, maybe this could happen again. And so I got excited about I like the website, I like the story. And like OJ said, the community was really, really good.
Yeah, that's a good story. Shiba went a long way, and I understand that
Yeah.
you do token analysis. You have your own
Yeah.
content out there. Interesting. Okay, let's set the stage here for the listeners that don't know the story behind SHIH TZU. Can you tell us what happened? What do you know, or when you joined? The founders have left, or it was just something that was put out there. Guide me through that.
As from what I understand and what I've researched, the owner launched the project October 15th, renounced it, contract on launch, had one exchange listing. And, influencers talked about it from, the one I saw. And when I saw it, it was really exciting in the community. And after the first exchange listing and launch, the project just kind of died off a little. And I kind of bought in up at the top, and as it come back down, a lot of community members, didn't understand or don't understand when a contract is renounced and the owner leaves, they don't understand, they don't know it, they don't research it. So it looks like a dead token or a bad project, or they just say the owner abandoned the project. But for me, it's not abandonment if a owner renounced the contract and leave the project. He's basically leaving the project to the community or whoever wants to step in. So a couple of us decided that, looking at it in contract renounced, um, good tokenomics, and still some strong members within the community. So we all got together and decided that, the private chat outside of the main chat, what we were all good at, and we felt like we could revive it. So that started the journey.
Makes total sense. Yeah, and it's common in this industry that we have, the technical analysts that they are only watching the charts. But I think the real value is in what you're describing when you join a community. It doesn't matter if the price
Yeah,
went down, you notice the real value, so you want to expand the community and
yeah,
get more people with that affinity to recognize the value, and eventually the price will go up again.
yeah.
Adam, how was your analysis? How did you react to this?
Well, I've seen it before. I've seen it before in other projects where, the community takeovers, if it has potential in terms, not only the community, but if it's got a story, if it's got a little bit of a narrative, then it's got a good chance. I mean, if you got community, if you got a team that can kind of maneuver some things where things are happening now, and if you have a vision, a mission statement, all these type of things, and especially in the market right now, it can actually be really, really good because A lot of projects, they actually build more in the bear and they blast in the bull. So everybody wants the blasting off, but it just takes time to be able to do that. And if it's got potential, it's got that, got that little bit of that pepper that Binance really doesn't really have as much. Cause I looked on their chain, I'm like, there's not a lot of me runners on there. This one has an opportunity to do that. And so I just saw the potential of it. And meme coins is all about potential and belief. If it's got potential and if you can wait it out and continue building, then you may have something here.
I feel like meme coins usually we have this picture when everything's going up, and then we see all these names and the popularity, and then we look and hundreds of thousands of people actually
Yeah.
holding this token. That didn't happen overnight. That happened throughout a long time. Makes
Yeah.
sense. It's community building. Okay, before we get into more details of where you're taking SHIH TZU, I wonder about the mindset of the moment that you made the decision of let's lead this community. Let's be the ones ahead of this. Was it an impulse or was it already a decision that you had a vision and you didn't want it to go to waste? You want to execute on that. And if so, what's the vision?
It was a little of both, just when a community dies after a token launch in this situation, the people that understand stays. The people that don't
Mhm.
understand, they usually leave, and those are mostly the people that are around for the hype anyway. But after, just going through the community and chatting back and forth as the price went down, and the challenge was trying to explain within the chat because you start to get a lot of FUD in the chat when it happened the way it did. So the challenge was explaining to everybody what a CTO actually was because a lot of people don't know. So after explaining it to them, and you know you get a feel within the community. You don't have faces, you just have names and messages, but you get a feel for who's dedicated and who's not. Everybody within the chat talk about their experience, and you say, "Oh man, this is a good one. This guy's a good guy. You can work with this guy." So we found a few people that understood and basically had leadership skills that were a good fit. So we got the private chat and we started, communicating back and forth, and we got control of the chat, Telegram, X accounts, and just took our time and organically grew, and started a marketing wallet and started raising funds, and it worked out for us for the most part. It worked out like perfectly. There's no FUD in the chat. Everybody in the chat is happy, and we're just working together as a community.
What's your gut telling you where you're going with this?
Man, my gut is telling me that, man, we're going places with it. We didn't hire an animation team. We actually have Rogers. He does all of the animation, and he has some amazing content. Professor Shi and all of the other videos. If you go to TikTok, he has a ton of content on TikTok. You see it on X all the time. But this guy's actually doing this by himself. And there's a Fab Tax, I believe is his name. He's working on merchandise. And these are all just community members. And if we need funding for anything, we go to the marketing wallet and get it. We raise funds within the community to cover all of the cost of everything. We have such a low budget and market cap that we can't afford to hire for things that we need. And we want to use all of our funding for marketing and exchange listings.
Perfect. Yeah, and a strong community, you have good members that will be able to
Yeah.
help out and stand a
Right.
hand because you have a designer there, you're a graphic designer. And
Yeah.
with AI these days, it's just somebody with maybe with a little bit of free time to play
Right.
around and get
Yeah.
some very interesting marketing materials out there.
Yeah.
When you stepped up and took over and decided and start leading the community, any specific challenges? Did you need to spend time convincing people? Did you have support from key people in the community that helped convince others?
Yeah, like I said, the only challenge, the non-believers, people that don't understand or didn't understand what was going on, they were already gone. The people that were hanging on for dear life were the ones that we had to convince or explain, not necessarily convince, but more so explain the situation to them. Because Most of them look at, like, you have people that they're hardcore believers of certain YouTube influencers, and they follow the YouTube influencers. If the YouTube influencers leave the project, then they leave. So we had to explain that the YouTube influencers were probably paid influencers, and they did their video and they move on. Some of them may still hold, but you don't know. So you have to look at it from the inside perspective, what you see going on within the community, and build from that. The biggest challenge was explaining to everybody that, in my opinion, when you abandon a project, it's not, I don't necessarily look at it as abandonment, because he renounced the contract. And when you renounce a contract, a project can float around in blockchain universe forever, waiting for somebody to pick it up and run with it. Just so happens we had a community that didn't let it, you know, float off into nowhere land. We decided to step up. We had our investments in it. We decided to step up and teach the community, the ones that were there, what a CTO meant and what we could actually do with it. So the challenge was building trust. So we decided to be transparent with everything that make people get into a project. Uh, when you see a project, the hype comes from a project launching. The
Right.
first thing they say is, "We have an exchange listing," and everybody pile in. But you don't know what's going on in the background with that exchange listing, or the influencers that are involved. So be transparent with everything is what we decided. I do all of the listings negotiating. So I was transparent within the community. We raised the funds for the first listing, and we made everything available for the community to see where the money was going, what it was used for. And I think it was more of a shock or disbelief to the community to actually see that we did it, the first exchange listing. And that's where the community really came together after they saw that first listing. And they saw the marketing that we were doing. They were safe. Everybody felt safe donating
Yeah.
because we kept it, transparent, and we built trust from there.
Yeah, the building
Yeah.
blocks of trust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like the first transaction or the first donation, you never know what's going to happen. Then you see it
Yeah.
through, and yeah, they did what they promised they would do, so we can trust further.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. What can you tell me about the lore of Shih Tzu?
That was Kabashi's vision. Kabashi actually, he created the website, designed it and everything. But from the conversation that we had, it was about the dogs don't chase.
Mm.
Yeah, so he came up with that to say we're not chasing hype, we're building it organically. So we're not begging for holders and investors. We're just taking our time and doing it slow, building trust within the community and building the community, and the rest will come. So that's where the dog don't chase come from. That's all I could tell you, but everything else within that website is his vision.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
build a magnet and attract who would be interested in that. Okay, and interesting. So the idea after taking over, you got together, you have the leadership, you have these discussions with your community, created the lore, you raised funds for the listings. Adam, what are your takes on the community building strategy? What were the marketing decisions that were made there?
Yeah, I think it's more from what I've seen was you're looking for a narrative, something that gets people's attention. I mean, because attention beats anything, anytime. So the I agree with OJ saying that exchanges doesn't necessarily want to like rely on hype. They want fundamentals. They want actually community. They want sustainability. They want to see something grow, sustainable, not just, you in, you're out. And I think creating a narrative where it can reach other markets in terms of the Shih Tzu and Shiba, the Japanese versus this, I think it touched people in a way where they can identify. And so now it's just kind of like building on top of the narrative. I'm working on a video right now that has a comparison of where Shih Tzu was at versus where this is at, based off the narrative and based off the community and based off the market. So I think that could help people tie into like give people a comparison, because what people want is not only they want their bags to move, but they want to be some part of something that they feel like it can grow. And I do like the move of trying to like create something where, like, okay, let me get this narrative. We can get this market. Let me get this narrative, get this market. And you get those people in those markets and you just build a story. So then now, what could happen, in my opinion, you can take the story and start building clips, start building like little bitty video series episodes, like a voiceover, tonight,
Right.
Shizu was walking in the cave. You can start doing some things like that and start building like an animation story with it as well. And so you can go that route now, and that can start a little bit of medieval times type thing. And so now, and this is the time to kind of do those type of things because in the market we are, people are looking for something for entertainment to throw a couple of bucks in. And that could be another way of where that narrative could go. You don't need somebody aping in $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, not necessarily. You just want the $100. You just want the $67. Oh,
Yeah.
I like what you put out there. Put $68. So you want to kind of build smaller. And then when the conditions come in, that's when you're starting to see like, whoa. And then those people who's been buying those small bags, they can see those get a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And then they're going to add more in. So it's kind of like more of a building process. What can we do to bring attention? And just to get the $50 guy. Get the 77 guy, get the 327 guy. And then there you go.
Perfect.
Keep them,
Yeah.
but keep them attention though. Keep them attention. And you can do that with your content or just being creative with your putting out.
There you go. Yeah. Sustainable growth and interesting, keeping it
Mhm.
interesting to keep people involved.
Come. It's just going through a cycle right now. Going through a cycle right now, but it's definitely gonna come. And when it comes, it's gonna hit pretty hard.
This drives me to a different direction. But before that, I'm curious, the token holders and the community, where is your community interacting? Where do they go to, discuss and get updates on what's happening with you guys?
Go to the chat, go to Telegram. We're extremely active in Telegram. You can
Perfect.
also go to X. We're active 24/7 in X. For the most part, across all platforms, we're active.
Got it.
But you get more of a personal interaction on X. I'm sorry, on
On
Telegram.
Telegram. Got it.
We answer all questions. We have a ton of community members that understand it completely what's going on here, and they'll answer any questions, regardless, any questions. No secrets, no DM privately DM me and all, none of that. We keep it straight shooters.
Perfect. So on Telegram is where the right attention is.
Yep.
Got it. As we were talking and Adam were describing the growth tactics that you're applying, my head went to meme coins had a fantastic moment not so long ago. I noticed that we keep having more and more launch pads popping up. More and more launch pads popping up as an example of Pop.Fun and some others.
Mhm.
And interesting enough, we don't hear much about meme coins, although there's a ton of them. They're all there. And I think the real value is actually building the community, not just sniping in and seeing a few days of charts and then disappearing. How are you guys seeing the state of the market right now in the start of 2026 with everything that's happening, shaking markets, but with meme coin having that shiny moment a while ago? Now, launch pads that basically it's what they're driven by meme coins being launched all the time and some other types of tokens. How are you looking at it and how are you positioning yourselves in it?
I mean, for me, I position myself with just education, really just educating the platforms that does come out there. And then educating what projects does get listed and kind of seeing the sentiment of like what their plans are. Yeah, because with me, I kind of look at Pump Fund as more of it's an opportunity, but there's also an opportunity to educate you what's really going on behind the scenes. So I follow a few projects to see what they're doing, not necessarily buying anything like that, but just kind of researching and kind of seeing what the whole plan and the whole situation is. They do make it easier for anyone can launch a token and call it water bottle and can does whatever. But I really think it's more about where things are going. So I think the thing about where I think at this particular time is just kind of see where things are going and see how you can use those advantages towards whatever you're doing. It doesn't even matter. It could be an investor, could be a part of a community, it could be really launching a token. So I think it's just staying up to date on things that's working that's working, and then kind of shifting out what's not working as well. So I think it's more educating and then getting better at what you're doing. That's how I see it as a trader, investor, as a community member.
Perfect. And I imagine that you see more activity on the exchanges, on exchanges order books than on DEXs or P2Ps when it comes to meme coin trading, right? That's the importance of getting the right token listed on the right exchange at the right time. Adam, let's go with you. What are the plans for SHIH TZU throughout this 2026? Anything in your roadmap? I know that we're halfway through Q1.
Yeah, I think the building as well. I think doing having discussions like this as well. And I think just continue building. I think that's kind of what the plan is with the project as well. And just staying viable as well. And then just communication is still networking, communicating, still building. And then I believe that's where things are now. And then if the rest of the team can all combine together and go from there. But I think just continue building.
Yeah, let's get OJ's views on what's ahead in 2026 for SHIH TZU from your perspective.
Right. Okay. So we don't call it a roadmap. To me, roadmaps is like a bad word if you don't follow it. So as a community without developers, we decided to call a milestone goals. So our goal is to reach certain levels in market cap, and the reward is an exchange listing. So within those goals, we raise the funds and we do marketing. We have utility coming. We have a swap coming, She Swap and She Guardian play to earn game. I don't know where we are in that process. Kabasha is working on that. But as far as the milestone goes, we have giveaways from each market cap. So the total giveaway at $25 million market cap would be $100,000 in She tokens that we'll have available along the process. Growing the community, of course, the community would have to grow to reach those goals. If we don't reach those goals, then if the community doesn't grow and we don't reach those market caps in the time of a roadmap, with roadmaps you have deadlines. With community goals, there are no deadlines. It's just a goal that once we achieve the goal, this is the reward. And you know, surprisingly to most people, but not to me, we are ahead of schedule on the milestone goals. Yeah,
Yep.
we've done 4 exchanges in 2 months, community funded
That's
exchanges in 2
impressive.
months, and we have raised the funds for we have 10, I think it's 10 agreements with top exchanges. Haven't decided which ones, but we have the agreements and we have the funds for 2 already raised. So we're way ahead of schedule. The concern is moving too fast and creating too much hype up front, and then seeing a decrease in market cap at the end of that, and that's going to upset some community members that don't understand the process. So we're moving slowly and using the goals as rewards for anybody. Can If you join the community, follow us on X and Telegram, open a position and hold to qualify. And we did a couple of giveaways. I don't remember the amount or how much was given away, but we do it all the time because our marketing wallet is full. We get a lot of donations from within the community. So it's more of like you asking, it's more of goals instead of a roadmap. And we got the entire year. If all of the goals that we have set followed through for the year, we should have at least 10 exchange listings by the end of the year. And we should have the swap functioning and we should have the play to earn game out. I think after that, the discussion is going to be NFTs and whatever is working at that time, whatever is popular. The end goal for us is to eventually get listed on Binance, and I think we have a good opportunity. Like Adam said, there are no super memes listed on Binance. They've yet to see, a Shiba or a Doge. And if you look at VSC scan, CZ has 6% of the supply. It was donated to him by the contract creator. So that's a good approach to get their attention once the value is higher and that wallet is has a 6% of the tokens, like 60 million tokens, because we have a 1 billion supply. It's a good narrative.
It's good that you're spreading out those milestones throughout the year. It keeps community engaged, and with all the animations and the storytelling and the memes that you're going to put out there, you're going to keep them involved. And of course, all of these materials, all the marketing materials can become an NFT at a certain point or participate in the play to earn game. Okay, so that's a true community great example of chipping in and helping to push the project forward. When the original creators abandoned the smart contract and you guys took over, do you have, or anybody still active in the community, do you have access to the smart contract? Does anybody still have the private keys to that, or is that gone?
It's renounced. Nobody has it. It's completely renounced, liquidity burned. Nobody can change the tokenomics. Nobody can do anything with it. It's renounced.
And the tokens that were still in the smart contract, by what you're telling me, they were burned. That's the liquidity that was burned, right? So
Nobody
everything that is
can.
in circulation is all there
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it, man.
The project is safe. That bad word that everybody hate to hear, it won't happen here. Rug pull. It won't happen because the contract is renounced. Only thing you have is investors. We're not developers. We're community members.
Yep.
So all we have is the tokens that we purchase on the open market. So yeah,
So all token
Mhm.
holders and large bags are actually investors.
And he's right, 100% right. I'm just looking at it. Yep.
Actually, I'll shoot this question to the two of you. Let's start with you, OJ, and then we'll go to Adam. But we were just discussing the milestones for 2026. Do you or anybody else in the community is active and going to IRL, to in real life events like conferences or gatherings or meetups or even local, regional, or small ones? Is there any part of Shih Tzu that connects, to share a meal or just to have some people discussing, some
right,
people
right.
looking face to face?
The only thing I can contribute to that, I don't do big events, or I'm a retired veteran, so the local lodge, I teach a crypto class to the older veterans.
Oh, nice.
They're actually a lot of those guys are invested in this project. So, and that's my community. That's my local community. But as far as, I don't think we've reached that point of, major events and, things like that.
How about you, Adam?
Yeah, it's interesting. I got like an email from the Bitcoin conference. Like I got an email from them actually earlier today. So I think what they're doing is trying to get things ready for their conference there as well. So it started getting me some ideas of like maybe attending to that Bitcoin conference and start networking. So I actually been thinking about that today. It happened today, so I didn't got a chance to really share it. You guys first people to really know about it, to be honest with you. So I thought about like possibly just networking there. So I think that could be an opportunity. Yeah. So
Great. Yeah, I love conferences. I think there's a special
mhm.
energy when you get everybody together because we live so much in the digital world and
Yeah,
we do so
yeah.
so much of this, which is
Yeah.
good. We connect well. I think we communicate well and we build strong ties. But there's a special thing, special energy when there's a group of people that share these ideals in the same physical space. And
Mhm.
there's also something that I like. Each one of these conversations usually brings some fresh news to our audience. I love that. Biconomy users are always lucky. Which leads me to any final thoughts and main takeaways that you want our community, that you want Biconomy traders to keep in mind from this conversation? Let's start with OJ.
Let me, if I can, real quick. I just got a message. Someone just asked me about the token distribution. 52% of the tokens are held by the top 10 wallets. That is, we use when we do exchange listings, we try to target exchanges that don't require us to have a third party market maker, but or provide liquidity. And I did the research on this last night, actually, for today. That 52%, 80% of it is exchanges. We have Pancake Swap number one, Biconomy, Ascendex, and BTCC all use the same third party market maker. So those tokens are concentrated in one wallet. So it's the number two wallet. CZ is the number three wallet. So the top holder from there only holds about $3,000 worth of tokens. So the concentration of those wallets for 52% are coming from the exchange listing, CZ, and Pancake Swap. So there's only about 12, 13% for the
Right.
top wallets. That's a pretty good distribution of tokens for our market cap to be as low as it is. So basically, this is where millionaires are made. If if you look at Shiba,
Yeah.
I was in on Shiba in the beginning, and I saw the concentration. I was actually afraid to get in, so I only put a couple of $100 in. If I had been thinking or understood, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys today. I'd be on vacation because I would have known a good $1,000 would have changed my life. So when you have the tokenomics where they are and the market cap as low as it is, and $1,000 could get you however many millions of tokens, and you multiply that by 1,000x, which we definitely have the potential to do. Um, yeah, but the tokenomics and the token distribution, 80%, 90% of that token distribution is exchanges. That I know that comes up because I've had that the person this morning asked me, and I've had two other people ask me. And those are people that are doing their research, which is understandable. But that token distribution when you're small, as small as we are in market cap, you're gonna see a higher concentration in the top wallets because those are the ones that really believe in it. As you see the price grow, you'll see more, distribution, and those exchanges will still have the top wallets, and you have more people with big buys come in, and you'll see those are the people that just simply had big buys come in and they're holding. I hope I answered the question. I just got carried away with that trying to explain that.
Any takeaway from this conversation today that you want Biconomy users to keep in mind from now on?
Join Telegram or get active in Telegram, so you can know and be a part of the events that we have, the goals. Buy some, and hold it. That's basically it. We just because you buy on Biconomy or any other exchange doesn't mean you can't join Telegram and get active within the community. Either way, you're working. Everybody in She is self-employed. We don't have any bosses. We don't have any developers. So join Telegram and get active.
There you go. How about you, Adam? What final thoughts for today?
Yeah, man, I think at this time here is to stay positive, stay bullish still. Definitely. It's a lot of opportunity. Just like OJ was saying, this is how millionaires are really made at these conditions here in these situations. So finding a project like Shizu, where it's got a community, it's got a vision of community member team leaders that wants to see successful of the project. And this is how you become what you want to become at places and times like this. And they don't come often. And then it can happen and they can move fast. One day you could be in your bed, the next day you could be on the beach. It could just happen that quickly. So definitely get involved and stay active.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Well, this has been a fascinating dive into how a group of dedicated holders can revive a meme coin and give it new life.
I love it.
Remember, nothing here is financial advice. If you're curious, visit the website listed in the description. Join their Telegram community. Thank you, OJ. Thank you, Adam. This was fun. This was a good conversation.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.